What's up guys, this is Musa. Being an entrepreneur is always exciting. It's all about doing something which is very valuable. So yesterday I was reading about J.K. Rowling and how she became almost a billionaire. Well, she started from Harry Potter books and she sold almost 500 million copies. And I guess it has been the best-selling book series in history. It was interesting to see how a train got delayed. And she started thinking and then writing about this magical world of wizards. And finally being a billionaire. So the important thing here was that she started something. Starting something valuable. And there was this sense of self-motivation, which had actually motivated her to keep writing. Because being a single mother was difficult and there were always a number of problems. That means there were a number of risks which she needed to understand. And she had no money as well. And I think it might have been a simple thing like pen and a paper. That means these tools are powerful. If you really want to do something, you should start the way you can. And now it's more easy. Apart from pen and paper, you have a number of gadgets at your disposal. So it's all about doing something valuable. Now this can be a product or a service where you start, initiate, and then you understand the risks. And you will have your story from rags to riches. So it's all about starting the way you can and having that self-motivation inside you, where you can turn something of no or little value into something very valuable. Now before we move forward, let us see what Callie is doing.
We will be transforming this teal nightstand. So my mom had bought me one of these nightstands whenever I lived in one of my apartments in college, and I absolutely loved it. It matched my decor back then. I was in a teal beach theme, but since then I have transformed to the modern farmhouse, and this just did not match anything in my house, so I knew it was time for a change. And instead of spending the money and buying new, I decided to budget, and I saw potential in these nightstands, so I thought, why not do a DIY?
Now that was interesting, making a beautiful product from something which most of the people would just throw away. Now this is how an entrepreneur thinks. There was one more interesting thing which I wanted to talk about. There was a guy who used to draw cartoons, and then together with his brother, they started a company where global revenue touched $69 billion last year. And yes, I'm talking about Disney, Walt Disney. I'm talking about Avengers, I'm talking about Frozen, I'm also talking about beautiful theme parks. So in here, it's all about how you organize and how you manage the things. And there is going to be a good amount of risk here because you're going to be your own boss. That means you will have a lot of responsibilities. But again, it's all about creating that product or service where you understand the need of the customer. Disney has grown into a very big company, and it's all about managing and organizing the things and resources within the company. Taking the example of Apple, the company had touched $1 trillion. But it had been through a number of tough times. There was a time when Jobs was out of his own company. Imagine you start a company, you give it your everything, and then you're kicked out of the company. But finally he came back in, and now Apple is one of the biggest tech companies. So again, it's all about how you organize and how you manage. So being an entrepreneur means you're going to keep track of all these things. And you need to know and understand the needs of your customer. If we are talking about iPods, they started something similar before, and later on it became and turned into iPods in 2001, I guess. And then they continued to update and make many improvements in this product, and became one of the best products of the time. So it's all about making and adding all the improvements over time. And you don't have to wait till you get an ideal, perfect product or a service, because that's never going to happen. And you always have to keep trying so that you know what suits you the best. Now moving a step forward, it's interesting to see how a search engine like Google started. Although it's not just a search engine now, it has become a very big company with time now. Larry and Sergey did create this company while they were students, and later on made Alphabet as its parent company, which did touch $1 trillion in market value. That's a lot of money. So the main important thing here is that you will need your skills and your passion. And this is where your school, university or college becomes very important and will help you to connect to right people. All I'm trying to say here is it's hard to start a company like Google if you don't have the required skills to start a tech company. Same applies to companies like Tesla. Now if you don't have the required skills, it's hard for you to start a company like that. Now what if you don't want to spend a lot of time and money on education? And should it matter, or how much should it matter? If you're doing a job, or you're a student, or you have never been to school or university for whatever reasons. And money of course is very important here. Now in this case, let us take an example of being an entrepreneur in real estate. In real estate, obviously you need a license and some training, but the duration is very less as compared to university or college where you may spend 4, 5 or 6 years for your education. Real estate alone as an asset class had an estimated value of more than $217 trillion. And that too 4 years ago. Now it should be a lot more. And residential property make up to 75% of the total value. So that means you really can do a lot more. You just need some basic skills and you're good to go. So these were the 3 important things which you need to know. So if you want to be an entrepreneur, all you've got to do is you've got to believe in yourself and you've got to start. If you want to know more about Kelly, please make sure that you check the links in the description below. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. See you guys next time and please subscribe.